Before the road trip even started is the G-Man got to travel again. Mm-hmm. You and I talked about this earlier in the show, Jason. Not only do we share a common love of Gery Gerould, both on and off the court, and especially on the golf course, but we, like so many, enjoy following him, whether it's a GQ photo of him dressed to the nines. I mean, just, come on.
Yeah.
Or his many food adventures.
Yes.
By the way, he does a pretty darn good job calling a basketball game. And he was part of the whole deal, too. We talked about Katie and Mark Jones and the players last night fighting through everything. G-Man's just like, kids, please.
I've done this before.
And look, while Katie's still sleeping right now, G-Man, bright and bushy-tailed, ready to go, joining us on the program. Gery Gerould, it's Dave, it's Jason. We love you. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I appreciate the love. I don't know about the bright and bushy tails, but I'll try to live up to that standard.
Well, it's got to feel good. Honestly, we know how much you love your food haunts, whether you're up in your haven with Miss Marlene in Tahoe or you're on the road at all these different places. How great is it to be back out there?
It's a lot like the old cliche about, getting back on the bike. You can still ride a bike. It's interesting. I realize there are little things that certainly we did miss I think it was within 2 weeks of 2 years not being on the road with the Kings. But one of the great things is being able to, see your broadcast colleagues and to see people, security people, one thing or another that you met and somewhat befriended, even though they're just acquaintances over the years. And a perfect example, last night, Bill Schoening, who's the longtime 21-year radio voice of the Spurs, was celebrating his 2,000th consecutive Spurs broadcast. And I marvel at things like that. And that's, so he was reveling in that, and they were giving him some love on the big screen. And the Coyote was up there, messing up his hair and putting a birthday hat on him and one thing party hat. And so those are the things that you miss. I love being with Henry and Jason and Deuce and RJ when we're down in the green room studio at Golden One Center. We had good times, but there are certain little things that you realize that, man, when you're on the road, you just don't have those opportunities. And so it's just it's been interesting from that standpoint.
Well, an oddity of the situation that I know we talked about during the broadcast yesterday, G-Man, is the way the Pelicans game went. I know your call, you warmed up the Jets, but apparently the Jets never got warmed up on the plane. You've done this a long time. Where does that one rank as far as airplane struggles, I guess we'll say?
Well, it doesn't happen very often, we all know, and you have to have permission from the league in order to, not travel or to go ahead and travel on a game day. And that was one of the hang-ups, as I understand it, conversations with a couple of the folks that were involved in the communication with the league in New Orleans. You spend 4 hours after the game at the arena, and you're kind of running out of things to do and places to go. And, you prop up a couple of chairs and make one a temporary desk and go to work on, your preparation for San Antonio, realizing, well, at some time we're going to get to Texas and we're still going to have a game to do. You better be ready. So it was bizarre. It reminded me, and I mentioned on social media, and I don't know the year, but it was, a long time back, and the Kings had a game in Denver, and they were supposed to fly the day before the game from Sacramento. Heavy snow in Colorado, couldn't fly. Went the day of the game, had to be diverted to Colorado Springs, 2+ hour bus ride through the snow from Colorado Springs to Denver, arrived at the arena 90 minutes before tip, and proceeded to whip the Nuggets. I mean, it happens. And so you're thinking, could this possibly happen here against this San Antonio club, who, like the Kings, they got a lot at stake down the stretch of the season, trying to look at a possible play-in opportunity. And much to my delight, and I think to the delight of Kings fans, the Kings responded and really, really played well. And as it turns out, we were only in San Antonio for, 10 or 11 hours, and then it was on to Dallas. And I know you mentioned earlier, there were luggage problems last night. Kept thinking, wondering, because I always go down and get my own bags, and I thought, beat the process. I don't want to wait until they get delivered to the door because I'm low on the totem pole. I'm going to be one of the last ones that get the bags. So I go down, and Melanie Stocking, who's, just what a sweet person and what a great disposition and what a remarkable job she did in the previous 24 hours trying to coordinate things and answer everybody's questions and on and on and on. And she says, well, G-Man, we have an issue with the truck. And I said, an issue? Yeah, they had to send the buses back to the airport to get the bags, and they'll be coming back to the hotel. So it's going to be a while. Just go, well, somebody, they'll leave your door unlocked and they'll put the bags in. I can't do that. So I go to work and, one thing or another, get ready for tonight's or tomorrow's Dallas game. And an hour or so goes by, and I thought, I'll go down and check. Miguel, who's the equipment manager, is down there. He's sitting on a couch, feet up. I said, still no bags, huh, Miguel? As it turns out, and I got a chuckle out of this and I thought immediately of Pete Youngman for all the years that he coordinated things like this for the Kings. The truck driver, apparently, who was supposed to handle the luggage, locked his keys in the truck.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh.
And so I don't know where the process was, if the bags had been loaded in the truck and had to be offloaded then to the buses or whatever. Bottom line was, a little before 3 o'clock, the bags arrived. I get up to my room, you unpack your bags, one thing or another, so it's lights out at 3:30. So that's a long and convoluted story about a pretty strange day yesterday. And I'm thinking multiple times, how grumpy would you be had the Kings lost that game last night after the 19-point lead disappeared? But they rallied back. They got the win. Life is good. And today's a day off in Texas.
Gery Gerould joining us from Dallas. Gery, as you, I'm sure, know, the old Arco is getting a send-off here in a couple of weeks. Couple of memories, and I'm not going to do the thing, hey, what's your best memory? But I'll
Thank you.
But I would imagine there's a couple that circle your head. Let me ask you this: what stands out when you look back on all the games? Let's just call it Arco 2 that you called and all the things you were a part of. Do you remember first the Bibby shot, the Tyreek Evans, or do you remember the relocation and all the different bad-ish and good-ish memories? Which one pops in most? That's what I'm curious about with you.
Well, it's interesting. That's an interesting question, Dave, and I as frequently, I don't know if I've got a good solid answer because so many things pop into your mind. And, you touch on the Bibby game winner. Outstanding. I mean, that was just a crazy, crazy moment. But one of the things, and you talk about what Arco came to represent, and you hear Alvin Gentry mention this from time to time about the importance of getting a home court advantage and winning on the home floor. It was the fans. It was the Arco Thunder. In the early years, of course, it was the fascination and the new love affair between Sacramento and a professional sports franchise. And then you think about how Greg Lukenbill and everybody, they put that building together. And, we're not telling any stories out of school. That building was built on the cheap.
Right.
It was built for, I think it was $42 million. And at the same season, the then-known Bradley Center was open in Milwaukee. It was built for $90 or $90+ million, twice the cost of Arco. But Arco had character. It had flavor. It had passionate fans who just, and I loved the Arco Thunder, the stomping of the feet on the wood floors. And I get chills thinking about some of that stuff. And then you think about the night when they set the Guinness World Record for the loudest arena in the history of mankind, 127 decibels sustained. Pretty amazing stuff. And then, the half-court shot from Tyreek and various game winners and the characters who played and represented the Kings and the passion of the fans in that 8-year stretch under Adelman when the Kings were so darn good. Man, there were good times. Now, do I like Golden One Center better? From a facility standpoint, hands down, no question. So much to like about G1C and so much to like about the kind of reinvigoration, the reinvention of downtown Sacramento. So everything, it's kind of in different balance and perspective, and I have a kind of a funny way, I guess, at looking at those things. But Dave, I don't know that there's, specifically any one thing but it was just a lot of good memories. And I really think that it's cool that the Kings are going to get together and invite fans in a couple of weeks and have the opportunity to say farewell to that place.
Yeah.
And, here's another one that just popped into my head. You standing on a stepladder and what we thought was, the final appearance of the Kings in Sacramento, and that they were going to be headed north to Seattle. Man, what a ride we've been on over the years. 37 years of the Kings in Sacramento. And I can't imagine life without the Kings.
And as my kids saw not that long ago in one of the documentaries, you said, and I look up and there's the wacky one. Now they call me the wacky one. I appreciate that. G-Man, when the season's over, let's get back out there and you can watch Jason and I hit every tree on the golf course.
Tree Michael Dave.
Tree Michael Dave.
Tree Michael. I want to do that. And I'm going to hold you. I'm saying this publicly. I want to play at Winchester.
Oh, yes.
You are my guest the second you have the time. I promise you. I look forward to it. I'm writing it up. Thank you for getting up this early. Thank you for being with us. It's always an honor for us. You know how we feel about you. Have a wonderful call against the Mavs.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And, let's go Kings.
Go Kings. Look at that. I mean, that's just